In this video, I'm going to explain to you how you can get a job at PWC in 2025. Now, what a lot of people make a mistake of when they're applying for a job at a big four company is they don't fully understand the sorts of roles the company has. And furthermore, they don't understand how to, in fact, get an interview at these firms. That's like the two biggest mistakes. I'm going to focus on how you can get an interview first. Then you can worry about actually nailing the interview. So, the best way to go about this is through a strategy called intentional networking. This is basically a strategy where you go and you find people working the relevant roles at PWC that you might be interested in at the firm. So, like for instance, there's roles in tech consulting, data science, solutions engineering, and there's a lot of these different sorts of tech consulting roles at PwC that you can look into if you're interested. Now, what you should be doing after locating these sorts of roles is you should be going on LinkedIn and you should be finding people who are actually working the roles that you are interested in at PwC. And what you should be doing is you should be sending them something known as an informational interview request. You could find interviews very easily online nowadays. Email finder tools are out there. And you just send them a brief email explaining who you are and that you'd be interested in kind of chatting with them and getting to know about them and the role they're in and so forth. So once you manage to hop on a phone call with them, maybe you'll convert at like 10% here in terms of getting people onto calls with you. What you should be doing is you shouldn't be pitching them, right? You should be having a conversation with them. And by the time you've ended this conversation, you've now created something known as an internal advocate within the firm. Now, I'm not trying to lose you here. I'm trying to draw it back to PwC. Is that by creating these sorts of internal advocates within the firm, you have to think of it as, if you're looking for a job at PwC, you need to have people who can refer you at the end of the day and get your resume in front of the hiring manager. So let's say, for instance, a role at PwC opens up later down the line in tech consulting, and you're interested in that said role. What you can do is you can reach out to these internal advocates that you've gotten at PwC, and you can ask them, "Hey, would you mind referring me, or would you mind, putting in a good word, and so forth." And most likely, if they've had a good conversation with you, they're more likely to find the hiring manager and put in that good word. And that's all you need, right? What happens when you employ such a strategy is that instead of your odds of getting an interview being something like 1 in 100 or 1 in 200, you can drop it down to something like 1 in 10 or 1 in 20, because it's more likely that the hiring manager is likely to trust the word of someone else who has worked at the firm rather than some random resume they've just picked off of the internet. That's the best strategy to go about it. If you're looking for a job at PwC or any sort of big four firm, your main responsibility is to create these internal advocates and get them to convert and get them to get you interviews within your target firms. And if you want help creating such a strategy for yourself and for your own career, I recommend you go down and book a call with us below. We do offer coaching calls and coaching services for people interested in landing tech consulting roles in the big four and any sort of other large tech consulting company. Go down to the description below and check that out. And as always, thanks for watching the video.